Almost everyone has a ghost story, it seems, but few professions carry the lingering presence of death like that of the military. From ghostly ships traversing the seas to the wandering spirits of soldiers walking long-forgotten battlefields, run-ins with the supernatural aren't unheard of, but sometimes those encounters can get a bit too real, a bit too close for comfort. These are real ghost stories from you, our listeners. Welcome to another very haunted Military Matters. I'm Rod Rodriguez. Want to keep your dollars and cents? Then download the Sense app from the Office of Financial Readiness. That's Sense, S-E-N, money sign, E, to save for retirement, build credit, create a spending plan, or buying a home. You can't do any of those things without money. So if you have sense, you'll download the Sense app. That's S-E-N, money sign, E, today. And be sure to follow at DoD FinRed on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to begin this episode with two stories from an Army veteran who claims to have come in contact with the restless spirits of Japan.
My name is Rich. I served in the Army from 1983 to 2003, and was able to spend two tours of duty in Okinawa during that time. I was there from 1984 to 1988, and then again from 1995 to 1998. First time I was there, we lived over on Camp Foster in Stanhausen. You know, nothing strange at all happened the entire time we were there. Just a great time living on Okinawa, and we're getting ready to leave, out processed, and we were staying in I believe it was the Kyoto Hotel, just for a day or two before the plane left, and we were off island. I've got my wife and my two daughters with us. We're in a hotel room, and I'm sitting on the edge of the bed watching television, and my wife was in the bathroom combing her hair, and I can't really recall what the kids were doing, but as I was sitting on the edge of the bed watching TV, out of nowhere, this apparition came through the wall, right there to the left of me, right in my peripheral vision, and it was. I mean, I seen it, and it's just kind of like, what's going on? And I kind of followed it out the corner of my eye and watched it. It came through the entire room. It came through the wall to the left of me, then right on the edge of the bed, and then just kept going and then went out the other wall. And I thought it was strange because, not only was it a ghost, it looked like, an Okinawan or Japanese woman, but she was wearing a white dress. So it wasn't like traditional Okinawan wear that you would see somebody wearing, but it was like a white flowing dress. Maybe that was just how I perceived it with the transparency of it. And I was just kind of, goosebumps and everything went up, and I was like, whoa, man, what was that? And I yelled at my wife, I said, did you see that? Did you see that? She goes, I didn't see anything. What are you talking about? And then I told her how this strange event just happened and went through the entire room like that. Yeah, well, my wife she's not a disbeliever. She claims that she has seen things in her life, and that could only be one thing. So when I told her that, she goes, well, with all the things that have happened here on this island, it's probably leftovers from that's still there. I mean, there's a long history there on that island, and a lot of it not so good. Yeah, she believed me, although she didn't see anything. I mean, you try to explain it to yourself, right? You're like, I know I just seen that, but what else could it have been? A reflection? Could it have been, my mind playing tricks on me? What could it be besides what I think it is now, was a ghost? I mean, you're trying to explain, make a rational thought process of what it was that I seen, and there's just nothing that I can think of or say to explain it other than it just went right through. And it was, people explain sometimes ghosts floating, and that's exactly what it was. It was like there was no walking. It was, there was no sudden movements. It just kind of glided right through the wall and then out the other wall. And it was only a matter of seconds for the entire thing. But it's one of those things that has just stuck in my mind forever. When people start, telling, strange stories about things that they've seen and unexplained, I always bring that in as part of the discussion that I've seen that, and to this date, I don't know what it was. Yeah, so in Okinawa again from 95 to 98, and this time we were living on Kadena Air Force Base, Kashaba terrace housing. I had come home from work. It was late. It was dark out, and the wife and this time I've got 3 kids, and so the wife and kids are in the house. My wife was in the kitchen. We had a big, large pane type of windows in the front of the house, and I just went up to the front of the house, just took a look outside. And when I looked out there, I seen my neighbor's yard. There's a lot of houses in that area. I looked, it was across the street, and I looked, and I seen a group of men, probably 8 or 10 or a dozen individuals out there, and they were walking around in my neighbor's yard, and they were holding lanterns, and it was like they were looking for something, like they had lost something, and they were out there just kind of, pacing around. And I thought, because the base support personnel, they wear a khaki colored uniform too, and that's who I identified them as. Turned to my wife and I was like, any idea why all these people are out here walking around in neighbor's yard? Looks like they're looking for something, trying to find something, or maybe they're working on something. And she goes, no, it was not normal to see that many people out there at one time doing something, especially at night. Matter of, just stepping away from the windows, talking to the wife, asking her a question, and turning back around and looking, and there was absolutely nobody there. So, I thought that was kind of strange. I'm like, wow, that stopped real quick. And I opened up the door, went outside the house, went out there to look, and there was nobody. There was no base maintenance vehicles. There was nothing to explain why those people were there or where they might have went that quickly. And, so I started going over in my head, sort of similar to that first time I seen that ghost on Okinawa. What could that have rationally been? And after I thought about it some more, and I was thinking, like, well, did they look? Could it have been like in uniforms and carrying lanterns? Could it have been something else? Because it's certainly not there anymore. And it was evening. It wasn't anything I could explain. It wasn't headlights, cars. It wasn't anything at all like that. It was just totally gone. So, I mean, in my mind, I just kind of accepted it as, yeah, that's a paranormal event. I seen ghosts out there, a group of them, just walking around. And it's the only time, in the entire 2 years that I had lived there that I seen anything like that is just one night, real quick, a matter of a minute or so. They were there. I seen them walk in, and then they were gone. I don't think, they chose me. I think that I just happened to be in a certain place at a certain time when this energy evolved and showed itself, and I just happened to catch it. I have an open mind to those type of things. I really don't know why me, versus anybody else in And, why did my wife not see the same exact things that I've seen? And why did my neighbors, that live in the house see the same thing that I've seen in their yard? I don't know. I can't explain that. Those are the only two events that I can recall in my life where anything like that has happened. I think that, depending on how we pass, there can be remaining energy that has a force that can re-show itself. And I think that traumatic events, things that happen quickly, where there was no expectation, where a person could peacefully pass, and maybe nobody was there to guide them. They're just kind of lost souls. And I think that, my explanation, based on not knowing anything else, is that's exactly what I've seen. And the woman in the hotel, that was very close to me. That was right next to me when it came through the room. And, I was able to see the face. I was able to see what it was wearing. And it begs the question, why is that there at all? So maybe that person was not able to pass peacefully and still remains there, trying to, maybe doesn't even realize that she's gone, or that she's passed, and that's why she's still floating around the hotel. And I'd be curious to know if anybody else in that hotel there has ever seen the same thing that I've seen.
When we return from the break, we talk with a ghost hunter who claims to have made contact with the dead. But when she sends us some strange audio, what we discover might leave you disturbed. When we return. Are you a military spouse? MilSpouse Money Mission educates and empowers those whom service members rely on most. So if you're the household 6, captain of the homestead, leader of the domicile, check out MilSpouse Money Mission from the Office of Financial Readiness. Also, they have an app, Sense app, SEN money sign E, to save for retirement, build credit, create a spending plan, or buying a home. If the last year taught us anything, it was how important it is to save for a rainy day or a COVID year. So if you have any sense, you'll download the Sense app. That's SEN money sign E today. And be sure to follow at DoD FinRed on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
My name is Melissa Gadoy, and I am a military spouse. My husband is active duty, and he's been in for about 16 years. And I'm also a ghost hunter. Years and years ago, I would watch the paranormal hunting shows like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and all those other paranormal investigator shows. And I was really drawn to them, and they always interested me. It was always been something that I liked. And I was a little spooked. I was a little, I would get scared. I'd like the ghost movies, the paranormal movies like The Exorcist and stuff. But I never really got into it until I came to Washington in 2018. I came across a post from Pretty Gritty Tours, and that's in Tacoma, and he was doing a tour at the Nathaniel Orr House in Silicon, Washington. And it was like, I don't remember the exact name, but it was like a haunted tour. And it was at a home that was built and lived in by a man named Nathaniel Orr. And he was one of the OG settlers in Silicon, Washington back in like the 1850s. So that was my first location. I decided just to go to this tour. And when I got there, I didn't have any equipment. I just had my phone. And I think Chris had an EMF detector. It's one of those little handheld devices that has the little flashing lights, and it senses like energy fields and stuff like that. So I started taking pictures and just talking to him about it. I caught some things. I caught like a whisper, and then I caught like a couple orbs. And then it just took off. I started going to more locations. I started going to businesses. Then I thought, wow, I'm getting a lot of this stuff. I wish I could share it with everybody. And I thought, I'm going to start a group. And so I started my Energy Paranormal group, and it's like 1,400 people so far, and mostly locals in this area. And then I got a lot of other ghost hunters and stuff in there, and like mediums and stuff like that. But it just kind of progressed. I got really into it. It felt like a calling. It felt like I felt comfortable because, a lot of people aren't comfortable dealing with the paranormal, obviously. Most people do it once and then they never want to do it again. I've brought people ghost hunting with me. They swear they want to go ghost hunting. They swear they want to do it. And then I give them my pep talk about, okay, so this is what we're doing. We're actually going to conjure these spirits. We're going to call to them and ask them to communicate and da-da-da-da-da. So we will make communication today. And then we make, contact, and they get scared and leave. And then they never talk to me again. It's just, I feel like it's finally coming into like fruition in my life. Like this is what I was made for. This is why I'm here. And this is something that I'm actually really good at. The family of the sister, she contacted me through my page and Instagram. She said, I need your help. And I was wondering if you could come to my home and connect with my loved one, my recently deceased loved one. She wasn't specific. And I chatted to her about the details, like, where are you? Stuff like that. So it turns out she lives in Bremerton. And I said, okay, don't tell me anymore. I don't want to know any more about your situation. I don't want to know names. I don't want to know what happened. I just know that I'm going to your house. We start the ghost hunt. I start, keeping in mind that this is a very tender situation. I'm not here to, oh, this is cool. These people lost someone and they're asking me for help. Like, that's a lot of pressure, first of all. But, I gave them my spiel. I said, so this is what I do. This is what I don't do. I'm not going to charge, but I also I can't make any promises. Like, this isn't guaranteed. It may or may not work. So, but I'm here. Let's give it a try. The family is there of this girl. And it turns out that her name is, she lived in Bremerton, Washington. And in January 2020, she was stabbed by another teen in a fight, and she died suddenly. When I got there, set up my equipment, it looks really weird when you first start because you're literally just talking to the air, and a lot of people have discomfort. They feel uncomfortable doing that, but I've been doing it for so long that I just start talking to the air. And I'm like, okay, my name is Melissa, and I'm here to talk with the spirits that may be in this house. I'm trying to talk to a deceased loved one. I start talking, and then I tell the spirits, like, if you could tap on my phone. I told her this. I said, could you tap on my phone? Could you sing or hum? Can you move something? Can you communicate to us in any way? And let me tell you, she did. I think I emailed you the video where you could hear, I did a bunch of recordings during my investigation at this house, made a bunch of recordings, and I started listening to them and watching the videos. So I caught a bunch of clips. There was a part where I could hear humming, and it was at such a weird tone. How about if I set it down? The sister of this girl, she was holding my phone, and I contacted her and I said, Eleni, were you humming by any chance, or was anybody humming? She said, no, you told us to be quiet. So She's like, we were quiet. We weren't saying anything. We weren't talking. We weren't moving. Cause I give a really strict spiel where I'm like, okay, so I'm going to need everyone to either be quiet or talk really loud, because I don't want to sit there and decipher if your voice was a spirit or if it was something else. I want to hear your voice. So I told them either say nothing or yell at me. So she's like, no. So I heard this humming and I sent her the video and I said, just tell me what you hear. And I didn't give her any details. She responds back. She's like, what is that humming? And I said, exactly. Who's humming? And she listened to it again. And she said, that sounds like my sister. At the same investigation, I heard tapping on my phone. Like my phone, you can hear in the video, I'll send it to you. In the video, you can hear this tapping, this weird tapping. And then the screen would kind of shake a little. And I tried to mimic it. I tried to put my phone on record and I tried tapping on my phone to see if I could create that noise again. And I took pencils, I took my finger, and I'm sitting there tapping on my phone, trying to recreate this tapping I heard in the video. I couldn't recreate it. Can you make that light up? So, and then I remembered, I asked this girl to tap on my phone or tap on something, knock. I told her to knock. She also moved the fan, the ceiling fan. We were sitting there and all of a sudden the ceiling fan just starts slowly spinning and there was no draft in the room. Everybody was like, there's no wind, nothing's touching anything. The switch was off. We all looked at the switch. It was off. And the ceiling fan was just going around at such a weird speed. There was so much happening at that investigation. And that was, I think, my first real home investigation where I didn't know the person. And something really happened, I've been to other homes where they're like, I think something might be here. I just feel really scared at night, or I just something, nothing like we had a family member die and can you contact them? But that one, I think, has to stick out. Well, like with anything that you don't know about, you should be careful. And that goes with any kind of device that you might use to contact the spirit world. It's not a game. It's not something you do on a Friday night. It's not something you do at a slumber party. It's not something that should be taken lightly. And I think Hollywood and I think other, just people not knowing that, you shouldn't mess with something you don't know about. And you should always consult with a professional. Find somebody like me that does this kind of stuff. The Ouija board is just another method of communication. I don't like it. I won't use it. I don't have one. I'll never be around one. People that do use it, there are ghost hunters that are very experienced that do use them and know how to use them. And they also know how to protect themselves. So I like the spirit box because it has its own source of energy in it. It's got batteries and stuff. So that immediately causes like some kind of like a barrier for me. It's not using my energy like a Ouija board does. A Ouija board uses your energy. You are touching that planchette. You're not moving it, but you're allowing your energy to flow as a conductor. So these spirits can use your energy to communicate with the Ouija board. But with the spirit box, you get your own energy. It's got its own energy source that they can use. They can drain the batteries and stuff like that. So that's why I like the spirit box versus a Ouija board. I feel like a Ouija board is like too personal, and there are people that love using it, and more power to them, not even bashing them. I think it's amazing that they're able to harness that kind of energy. Just for the regular person, I would say don't bring any spirit boxes or any type of Ouija board in your house unless you're ready for the spirits to be there in your house. Don't call to them if you're not ready for them to respond. Always contact a professional, somebody like me, other ghost hunters. Always consult with a professional. Don't consult with Google. Don't, what do I do for this? But I always suggest people just don't try it at home. If you've never done it before, don't try it at home. Like I always take first time people, and I've known people that are now blossomed into ghost hunters that went ghost hunting with me just once, and then that was it. So, and then I've had people ghost hunt and they never talk to me again. So always go with someone. I'm always willing to take someone for their first experience. But yeah, I don't ghost hunt my home. I don't invite that stuff into my house. I don't even keep my equipment in my house. But I just suggest don't bring them into your house without knowing what you're doing. Each ghost hunter, they have their own methods and their own ways of communication. They like doing this, they like doing that. And so if they're already doing it, man, keep doing it. I would love to learn, your methods and how, what you're doing, but I wouldn't have any advice for any ghost hunter, but then other people that have never done it before. I like answering questions. A lot of people ask me questions. I was doing home visits, but then people were contacting me from like Colorado and like 6 hours from here or 3 hours from where I live. And I'm just a volunteer, so this does take time and money, and I don't want people's money, but just understand if distance is an issue, then I may not be able to come to you. But, I'll be more than happy to try to find, a ghost hunter that might be closer to you. I do network a lot. I do know a lot of ghost hunters all over this country and all over the world. So, we are a community, so I can reach out on your behalf and see if someone else can come to your house. But yeah, I do love answering questions. I also like to share my findings and stuff in my groups so other people can see it and see that stuff. I want people to see it. I would love to cause a spiritual awakening in someone because they saw my videos, but I feel like it's something I want to share and I can't keep it to myself. Everyone should know this. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. My group is called Energy Paranormal.
So that should have been the end of the story. But I'm an audio guy. And when I heard the audio from the videos Melissa had sent me, I decided to try and clean up the audio from the video she claims to have heard humming in. You can already hear a little bit of what you might consider humming, but it's still pretty faint and there was a lot of background noise. So I took that audio, cleaned it up, removed some of the background noise, and turned up the volume. What was left? Well, I'll let you decide. For our next Fast Take, Jack Murphy and I will go through some of the stories you all emailed us, and Jack will share with you some of his own encounters with the other side. This episode was written and produced by Rod Rodriguez with assistance from Jack Murphy. I want to thank Rich and Melissa for sharing their stories, and it was really interesting becoming part of Melissa's ghost hunt. Don't forget to check out Stripes.com for all the news that matters to you. Stars and Stripes has been there for you all over the world. Now you can read those amazing articles wherever you are by going to Stripes.com and using promo code PODCAST to save 50% on your digital subscription to Stars and Stripes. That's 50% when you use promo code PODCAST. I'm Rod Rodriguez, and we'll see you at the next Haunted Fast Take. Did you know that the Office of Financial Readiness has an app? Download Sense app. That's SEN $E. Sense app has the information you need for saving for retirement, building credit, creating a spending plan, or buying a home. FinRed has the tools you need. Download Sense app for tips on the go and follow at DoD FinRed on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.